Welcome to the Leader More podcast. Our motive is to pass on what we've found helpful over the years through leading teams, running operations, and dealing with life's challenges. We hope you enjoy.
Sweet.
Hayden Anderson, mate, pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Gold.
No, it's cool. So, mate, from the start, like I'm really interested to, sort of learn about what you've been doing, and obviously you've had a fair bit of adversity and so forth over the years and stuff. But I'm just keen to, I suppose, just start from the start. So, grew up in NZ.
Yeah, that's right. Born and raised in a little town, Levin. It's just about an hour north of Wellington. I was raised there till I was about 9. My mum passed 3 days after my 9th birthday from cancer.
Okay.
And she's from Porirua originally, and then Dad said we're relocating and took us to Christchurch, where his family are from. He's from the South Island. He met my mum at Police College in Porirua, and then they moved us to Levin just to raise us on a small sheep hobby farm. Dad moved us to Christchurch to be around his family and support, and that's where I started playing rugby. I used to play soccer in Levin, but moving to Christchurch, that's not a thing. It's just purely rugby.
No soccer.
No soccer. No, I
You're
don't think
getting
there's
up
any.
for it, yeah.
There's no. I went to ask about a soccer team at our primary school, and they kind of just laughed. Like I actually don't think it was a sport. So that's where I started my rugby. I was there till about 16. Our whole family relocated after the Christchurch Earthquakes.
Okay.
Some of my older siblings were already in Perth working in the mines, and Dad took the youngest 3 and himself. He moved us all over here, so that's where I started playing in Perth.
Yeah, so you were, 16 when you moved to Perth?
16, did my last 2 years of high school at Arramore and Leederville.
Yeah, cool. Siblings, how many you got?
8 siblings.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are from the same mum and dad. Everyone always asks that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they go, the same mum and dad. You guys have no TV growing up? Yeah, well, we had a small farm, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the 8th.
Okay.
I'm the 8th. I've got one little sister. She's 2 years younger than me, and then the rest are all older. So 4 brothers, 4 sisters.
What was that like growing up?
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was a big family, because heaps of my cousins are from similar sized families and things like that. It was just the norm for us, and yeah, we're all still really close. Love them all to bits, and yeah, I'm just fortunate to have all those siblings because we're all quite similar, but also very different. And I think it's taught me how to interact with people from all different walks of life, or that like other things and have different passions and things like that.
Yeah, and probably too that you're just one of many, right? You're a part of a team too.
Yeah, Sevens rugby team with a couple of subs. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah,
and it's like being younger in the pecking order too. It's sort of like, hey, you
do this. Yeah, kind of forgot about it. Yeah, it was really good for my upbringing because you learn from a young age, especially when mum passed, that many hands make light work. Everyone had a job and everyone was expected to do that job at very young ages and step up. So
that brought you all together pretty closer than normal when mum passed. You reckon, or
probably we were always a very
close,
tight-knit, close family. Obviously, we have our normal family arguments and everything like that. But now we know how precious life is. We really emphasise family time and always coming together and everything like that. Yeah,
I could imagine. And what do you remember that pretty vividly? Like mum being sick?
Yeah. Because she was a bigger woman, really strong. I think I get my genetic size from her. Dad's actually quite tall and lanky.
Yeah.
And then mum's side's the Māori side, which is a more stockier build.
Yeah.
So to see her going through chemo at a young age and see her lose her hair, get really skinny and not be able to stand or walk was a real hard thing to see at a young age, I think,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's heartbreak. Yeah. Well, and both police officers, were you saying?
My dad was a police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mum was a hairdresser, so that's how they met.
Yeah.
Dad started getting haircuts from her, and I think it was twice a week he was getting haircuts back then, which is not normal. And then he asked mum out on a date. Now, mum's father was a high-standing police officer in Purirua, who wasn't really a man that you messed around with, which Dad knew. But yeah,
He was still keen.
He ballsed up and went over to mum's place and asked him if he could take her on a date, and that's how it went from there.
Yeah, smooth talking her while getting a haircut.
Yeah. It's funny because I know he's a tight ass, so getting 2 cuts a week or seeing her quite frequently and always asking for cuddle, it's quite crack up to me. You know? I cut his hair now, but
yeah. Oh, that's good.
yeah, it's funny how it all started, and I think he accepted a job in Levin as a police officer, so that's where he took us from there.
I've got 3 teenage kids, as you sort of met a couple of them as you come through, but mate, you know, must have been a tough gig for him raising you guys on the back of that tragedy, you know, like, my God, you know.
Yeah, a lot of my older siblings, so my little sister was 7, I was 9, next one was 11. All my older siblings were teens, or the eldest was 21 with their own child. So we all just knew that we had to step up, I guess, because mum was, she did everything, or she barked the orders around the home. You do this, we didn't ask, you just did it. You know? So Dad still had to bring in money to feed us and everything like that, which was always his job. But we had to kind of take on mum's role of the cooking, the cleaning, the everything like that. But it's not something that we really, I probably did complain about it as a kid, but we kind of all just got on with it. We all realised we had to chip in. And
earthquakes wise, like moving after the earthquake, like was that just you guys lost your home, or is it just a bit of a change and things were sort of, I suppose, just tough in the town at that point?
Yeah, a bit of a change. So Dad got a job with the Earthquake Commission for the first year after so he was just assessing houses, how much funding they would need to get the house back up and going and things like that. And he was on really good money with that, like crazy money for New Zealand. But then his year contract come up and they were halving their assessor's number and he didn't get the job. And our house was pretty fine. We just had paint cracks. It was an old wooden home. It was all the brick ones that got demolished. So he just said, oh, well, my siblings are over and my kids are over in Perth. I think my eldest sister was the only one with kids at the time, moved from Palmerston North to Perth. So that was kind of, my grandkids are there. More than half my kids are there. That's kind of...
Makes sense.
Makes sense for us to move there.
Yeah.
So that was,
How did you find that, being 16 or so and moving all the way to Perth? Like,
I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I was scared because I was doing all right with my rugby in Christchurch, making Canterbury sides and things like that. But my cousin was already over here playing at Animal, and I was like, man, that looks cool. So I'll try and pick it up over there. And didn't realise how much different it was, rugby over here compared to back there.
It's just how like small it is over here, or
yeah.
It's not really it's not a way of life, right?
Not really. You have to be kind of, your opportunities are a lot more in Christchurch, I would say, than here. And I just thought, he's playing first 15. I thought the first 15 was at a similar level. And then coming from Christchurch to Perth, I was like, it's kind of, our school was pretty good, but other than that, the other schools really struggled for numbers and depth and things like that. So the competition wasn't as great.
Yeah, Aaron Moore did so well, didn't they? You know, and we talked about Craig Phillips before, and you know, there's plenty of people that have been sort of involved in building that school. But they did so well with recruiting and getting great sides and coaching.
Yeah, Pugsy, he's got that many cousins. Yeah, and he just says, "Bring your kids over here." Yeah. He just gets all the Kiwis and
that's Dwayne, right?
Dwayne Grace, Dwayne Grace, Pugsy. He's always recruiting for that school, and then from that school you go to play for West Scarborough. So if you it's not on a contract, but he is like,
It's a wing.
if you were getting a scholarship for Arran, you're playing for West Scarborough, there's no ifs or buts, that's, yeah.
So that's what you did? Yeah.
Yep. That's what I did, and then played a season 18, 19 for the Prems at West Scarborough. Went on to make the Aussie 20s that year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just played the. I didn't go to the World Cup that they have. I went to the.
Yeah, there's a tournament with 4. So Japan, New Zealand, and
Samoa.
Yeah, Samoa. Yes.
Yeah. So I went.
So you played
to
like a
that one.
round robin comp with them.
Yeah. So I went to that over East, and I got dropped after that. And then I was at the Perth Spirit. Wasn't getting a lot of game time being a younger fella. And then Chance Bunce hit me up. He was living back home, and his dad Frank was coaching the Thames Valley.
Okay.
And he just said, hey, if you want to come and get some game time, similar level, it's the Heartland comp.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the one under ITM. It's all the smaller provinces. So he said, you'll get paid X amount a week, game time, blah, blah, blah. You'll get a job, house, fuel. Yeah, so I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds cool to me. So I packed up, went over and played a season of that. Loved it. I got to play for New Zealand Heartland, so that was awesome, being able to play for Aussie, represent them, and then play for New Zealand.
Fair achievement.
Yeah.
So that Heartland competition, that's like what, the 3rd best in New Zealand?
Yeah,
would be,
Yeah, so it'd definitely go Super Rugby.
Yeah.
Which is your Crusaders, Hurricanes, and then it would go to your ITM. I think it's still called ITM. That's all your bigger provinces like Auckland, Canterbury, Bay of Plenty, and then it goes Heartland, which is all the smaller ones. Thames Valley, yeah. But South Canterbury, smaller teams like that.
Yeah.
But still, you get to travel New Zealand, playing all these other provinces. So it was a really good level to play at for me.
Oh, fantastic level.
Yeah.
And to make that 20 side for Australia, and then, like, geez, we're good in Australia, aren't we? It was like, you've been here for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I was like, do I get my citizenship? I'll put on the gold. Yeah, no, that was an experience. That was a realization for me that I needed to start doing extras.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I had no idea about nutrition. I think that might have been a part reason to why I got dropped. I'd always just winged it and gone off. I was a bigger boy as a teenager and kind of just winged off that. It wasn't really in the gym at a young age or nothing like that. Mm-hmm. And then when I got there, I kind of realized, okay, these boys are doing extras, or they're gymming, they're doing all these things that I'm not. And I think that was where I started realizing you got to do more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And how did you go responding with that? Was that something that you sort of figured out you were able to do, or is it something you struggled with? Or
well, I had it wasn't straight away. I think I had this arrogance about me, like, nah, I'm still running these meters, or I'm still hitting hard. I didn't really realize I wasn't doing second efforts. I'd make a good tackle and then I'd go missing for 5-10 minutes while I catch my breath in the corner or something like that. And no one had really pointed that out to me, especially in Perth. I find that you can get away with a lot of things like that and still get selected for sides. And then doing that Heartland comp, I had put up a highlights video of my Prem season here in Perth. And Dave Dillon, who was at the Chiefs for the wider squad and development side, I think he's head coach at the Highlanders now.
Okay.
He come across that and reached out to me and said, hey, are you ever playing in New Zealand? If you are, let me know. I'll come and watch a game. And I was playing a Thames Valley game, and he come and watched that. And I spoke to him after, and it was the most honest feedback I'd ever had. He was like, yeah, I saw things that you do in your highlight reel. Yeah, you run hard, tackle hard. He's like, you went missing for 20 minutes after your run there. And he's like, look, you're unfit. I can tell you don't do extras. You're lazy off the ball. He's like, if you're not tackling or running, you're really lazy off the ball. and it was the most honest feedback I'd ever had. I was quite surprised. I thought he was going to pump me up because I knew I had a couple good runs in there, and he didn't at all. And it was what I needed. And he said, look, I can see there's something there. You've got raw aggression, some things that can't be coached, but you lack these. If you can work on your fitness and show me that you've got a bit of drive about yourself, I'll take you to Hong Kong to play for the Chiefs wider, the development side, and versus their national side, which was it was 3 months away, I think it was. About 3 months away. He said, if you can get an 18-1 on the yo-yo test, I'll take you. And I was like 120 kg, and this was, I was a big drinker, had I ate everything and anything, a tub of ice cream before I went to sleep, type of nutrition. It was bad.
Yeah, I can relate, yeah.
Yeah. And I went and run a yo-yo test just down at the grounds there, and I think I got like 14 or 15, something like shocking. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to call him because there's just no way. There's no way I'll make that 18. I'm not going to waste his time. I can't remember who I spoke to, but I was due to come back to Perth. I think it was my mate Ant, who runs a gym here. He was my first ever strength and conditioning coach, and I was just at his wedding. Awesome dude. And he said, are you really going to pass up an opportunity like that because you're not willing to put in some work? He was like, man, he's a really straight shooter with how he said. He's like, that's bullshit, man. Like, you've been given this free trip to play Hong Kong, you're going to pass it up because you don't want to. I was like, I just don't think it's possible. And he was like, well, let's find out. So that's where I kind of, and he just let me tag along. I just went and saw him every day, showed up, and he'd just put me to work. And yeah, I went back to NZ January and did that yo-yo test, and I got 18.4, 18.5.
Hey, good on you.
Yeah. And Dave said, look, you're coming to Hong Kong. And I was like, and that's where I kind of found, if you put your mind to it and just fucking give it a solid crack, you can, and that's where I found out I can cut things cold turkey, because I didn't know a lot about nutrition, but I knew that a tub of ice cream and McDonald's for lunch wasn't ideal, so I just made those simple calls of, cut that out. Drinking, cut alcohol for that duration, everything like that. And I went there and played, and it's a workhead.
Yeah, how good. Like, naturally talented guy, like you're saying, good highlights and things like that, and then getting some pretty honest feedback from both those guys, right? Like, initially, like you said, you were pretty surprised. Like, is it, a little bit of, oh, no, I don't know, that's wrong? Or were you?
I think I've always been pretty all right at taking critical feedback if it's said to me right. If it's guys just hounding on me and going, no, you're just rubbish.
Yeah.
There's a difference between, oh, you're rubbish and that was rubbish, but you do this really well, so you need to work on that. Like if they can give you a way forward, I just don't believe in just constantly just feeding negatives. So they were able to feed positives, but also give away, like, if we do this, this, and this, we'll get there.
There's a plan of attack. There's some, there's some positives. There's an honest assessment. You're doing these things well. These things are an area that you need to improve, and this is what we can do to get to this point, and this is when we need to get them done by. Like, instead of, hey, you're all show no go. What's going on here? Like it's not very helpful.
Yeah, I think in my younger years I probably had an issue hearing things like that, but I think deep down I knew myself that I could be better, and these guys are just telling me what I need to hear. So I kind of took that on board. Yeah. Well, I did, yeah.
Oh, good on them for giving you that feedback. Because that's not easy sometimes too, to be really honest with people.
Yeah, no, and that's the type of people that I've found I need to be around. And I've got that many older siblings that are always giving me honest feedback, keeping me like humble, puffing me down, because when I get too big, I needed to hear that.
going from Australia, going from Perth back over to NZ, you made that heartland side. You went across to Hong Kong. How did all that go?
Oh, awesome. I stayed in Bay of Plenty, so I was just travelling over to the Chiefs from there, which is only about an hour and a bit drive for trainings, and I was just at a local club there in Tauranga. I was playing for the Te Puke Pirates and trying to crack the Bayside for the ITM level. Never cracked it, never got a game. I was in their development squad and they had some other wider teams that they would put out there and I'd play in those. But
19, 20 years of age at this point?
yes, yeah, about 20 years old now, I think.
Yeah.
I was playing flank, and then that Heartland team actually were the first one to say it. They're like, man, have you ever thought of propping? And I just laughed. I just laughed. I was like, stuff off that. I'm not that big.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who, but I think it was someone from the Bay of Plenty or the Chiefs said, look, Hayden, you run, you tackle, you do all this like a 6'8" should, but you're a bit short. They told me I was a bit short for the 8 side. What they're looking for is 6'4" plus, so I was a couple inches off that. Yeah.
Jesus.
Really versatile. They're looking for that standard in NZ, unless you're like a crazy X-Factor player. But they said, look, if you could run and tackle how you are now, but you could scrum as a front rower, you'd get a contract. So I was like, man, sign me up.
I can eat again.
I can eat again, because I was always, cutting. I was always cutting to stay around that 110 kgs. I was always having to watch what I eat, everything like that. And when they said go to prop, I was like, yeah, buddy, I'll put the weight on. So I went and played prop for my season of 2017, and I was really fortunate. Some of the boys down at the club, our whole front row were professionals. We had an all-black hooker, a Chiefs, loose head prop, Hayden, and then we had a ex-Northland tight head, and they would take me for scrum sessions outside of, so they really put in their time with me, which I really appreciated. And then in scrum training, they just really drilled me, so that 1 year that I got to learn how to scrum, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
A lot that you would usually learn over years. So they really took their time out for me, and that was really good. I was like, oh, yep, I'm getting somewhere. We're starting to win scrums and everything like that. It helped that I was the smallest in the forward pack. Like, our forward pack was huge. So it really helped with that weight behind me. And then that's when I got a call from Thames Valley. Hey, we know you've played Thames Valley before. Would you ever think of coming back, but as a prop? And I was like, oh man, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I'll come for a game. And I went to the Thursday night training, played that Saturday, and 7 minutes, and I think it was 6 or 8 minutes into the game, I probably should have passed the ball, but I didn't. I kept running, and a fella slid down my leg and snapped my tib fib clean on the field. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Loud gunshot.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was loud.
And just an agony straight away?
No. I was really, really lucky. No pain at all. Yeah, I tried to crawl off the field, and that kind of upset it. But no, for that whole hour, waiting for the ambulance, because it was a rural game, and usually we have an ambulance there booked, but it was booked for the next day. They had stuffed up the dates. So I was just waiting for this ambulance to get there, and that whole time I was just in shock. Yeah, adrenaline. And then when it rocked up, that's when I started to feel it a little bit. Adrenaline was running off. They gave me the green whistle, and I was good to go. In the back. And it was about an hour drive to the Waikato hospital.
Yeah, okay. Jesus. What, you knew straight away that obviously you'd broken both bones, or that
oh yeah,
you could just tell?
I pulled my leg up and it just
it
just dangled there. It was snapped. Yeah. The bone almost come when you did that. You just seen it at the skin. I was like, man, yeah, that's broken, man.
Done a good job here.
Spaghetti, yeah. I was like, damn, you can't strap that. So yeah, I just thought it was a broken bone. I was posting on my Snapchat and Instagram of me on the green whistle and on the way to hospital. And then when I got there, I just had issues breathing. Yeah.
And you didn't know what was going on? Like,
Nah.
no, it's just...
No, I thought it must have been the whistle or something, but I just started curling over, and I remember like trying to wave at a nurse because they just had me to the side there on my bed. I was like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I kept on saying that. Like, I don't know what was happening. I was just curving over, and then that was it. It was lights out.
So
That was the last thing I remember.
really, so you passed out, or what happened there? Like you sort of induced, because you got put into a coma at that time. As well.
So that was the last thing I remember. I just remember curving over and my vision just going. And then I woke up 2 weeks later. So they did put me in an induced coma, but what was happening at that time was I was drowning, and that's why I wasn't breathing. I was drowning in my own fluid in my lungs. Yeah, so what happens with the bone is the bone marrow, because my bones are quite dense, they said, it usually happens when someone snaps their femur, but a fatty embolism had broken off. It got into my bloodstream, because I was on the field for an hour, and then I was, an hour drive to the hospital. I, by that stage, started drowning in my own fluid, and that's why I wasn't breathing.
Yeah.
So, it started collapsing my lungs.
Bit of a freak thing, that.
Oh, a massive freak thing, yeah. I had pneumonia for a year or two untreated, which did not help it at all. Usually it takes 20-something hours to collapse someone's lungs from a fatty embolism leak, I believe it is. And it took mine, a couple hours. And they reckon at 6 hours I would have been completely drowned. So, pretty freak, accident. I called my boss on the way there saying, sorry, bro, I won't be on Monday. And
it is. So you go into a coma, they had to operate on you or is it they gave you some medication and drugs and you just needed to rest to get over that?
No. So they put the tubes in. So they did my leg. They worked on that because the swelling on that was crazy. But I believe they rushed it a little bit, and kind of forgot about my leg, because the most pressing thing was my body temperature. I was overheating. I was cooking up. They put me in ice jackets, fans, ice jackets, everything. And then, the biggest thing was my lungs. So the only reason they put me in an induced coma, I believe, was for them to get all the gunk out of my lungs. So they had to put tubes down there and scrape. And that's
suck it all out.
Suck it all out and keep scraping, because it just kept filling up over those 2 weeks. So my dad said they had to handcuff me to the bed. I don't remember it, but I would wake up and start panicking, seeing all these tubes. I'd start clawing at them and things like that. So they had me on that drug that Michael Jackson overdosed on.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but they would just press a button and
Out you go.
Out I go, yeah. And they had me on quite a high dosage. Being a prop and being a bit bigger, they had me on a really high dosage. And that was me for 2 weeks, just coming in and out of this coma.
So you didn't die?
Yeah.
That's where you were going?
Yeah. I kept panicking. Yeah, I'd wake up, panic, didn't know what was going on. I don't remember that, but these are what they were telling me when I woke up.
And Dad flew over?
The whole family.
Okay.
Yeah, all of my siblings. Just one sister wasn't able to make it, just with her kids at home and everything like that, which is fair enough. But all of my siblings were at my bedside the whole time. Yeah, for that whole 2 weeks. I had a few mates fly up from Christchurch, my best mates. Family from all over New Zealand came to be at my bedside.
Yeah.
2
weeks, coma, you wake up, what's that like? Like, is it just, what do you remember? Outside of just, I suppose, the stuff that, with your leg and things like that, is there much there that you...
Yeah, I had some out-of-body experiences, which I put it down to just the drugs, like the amount of drugs that I was on. I was confused for one thing. Like, I knew everyone was a familiar person. Like, I knew they weren't strangers, but I had no idea who they were. You know, my sister come in and I just couldn't put the connection as to who she was, you know, and I think that was harder for them than me. Yeah, seeing that really, I was like, was she upset? You know, like who is she? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a tough thing to deal with after the fact, but
Yeah. And then recovery wise, with your lungs and things like that, once they got all that gunk out, you were okay from that point of view? You just needed a rest, or?
No.
Okay.
No, so my lungs, they said, were worse than an 80-year-old smoker's. Yeah, and I didn't smoke or nothing like that. I put it down to the pneumonia from dusty works. I used to do demolition and strip outs. And yeah, I put it down to that, just a lot of dust in my lungs. And then coming out, they gave me lung exercises. I was just blowing bubbles pretty much, just getting my lungs up. So I was in hospital for a month, just over a month, going from the wards and things like that. And they just kept lowering. I was on oxygen the whole time. They just lowered how much percentage they were giving me each day to get me to work.
Build up your resilience in your
Yeah,
lungs.
yeah. Because at one stage, I think it was 15 hours. If I hadn't shown any signs of improvement, they were going to flick off the life support. Yeah, they were like, he's drowning, he's kind of done for. I don't know what happened, but something changed in that 15 hours that showed them I wasn't going to be reliant on that machine for
Forever.
the remainder. Yeah, they said it gets to a certain stage where his lungs are now not working for themselves at all. He'll be on that machine for the rest of his life, kind of. Yeah. And if you take him off, then he's dead, kind of. So yeah,
close. Yeah,
yeah, very close call. Yeah, which kind of rattled me. I still think it was much harder for my family than it was for me. You know, I was so confused and didn't know how close it was. They've been there watching me almost die for 2 weeks. I've been asleep. I've been dreaming, you know. So I think it was much harder for them, which I'm really fortunate that they were there for me.
Yeah, I imagine your dad too, just with everything, you know, with your mum, and then obviously, you know, just terrible being the son, you know.
Yeah. So Dad stuck around for a few weeks when I got out just to help me around the house. I was flatting at the time, just till I could get around on my crutches. But I've always been one to like doing things for myself. I think that was one thing I really struggled with in hospital. You know, it was quite embarrassing having a nurse come and change your pot that you're shitting in. You know, you can't even wipe yourself, or you're making a mess on the bed and there's nothing you can do about it. It was quite embarrassing as a 21-year-old male to kind of deal with that and just go, well, you know, and have someone wheel you to the shower and clean you. Like, you know, I'm like, I'm not 80 years old. I don't need this, but I did. You know, I tried to do it for myself and I kept on passing out. You know, it was just too much. So
yeah, that's crazy, eh? Crazy. So 4 weeks in hospital, you get out, Dad's hanging around for a bit. How were you? Like, was there still sort of the thoughts of, hey, I'll be good, I just need to recover and all this sort of stuff? Or were you told pretty much straight away with your leg break stuff that, look, you're going to have some difficulties here, or?
Yeah, the swelling in my leg was huge, my left leg. And I noticed from the get-go that my left foot wasn't moving. And you know, when I woke, I could not feel anything from my waist down. I had no function of that, so that was quite scary. You know, I didn't even know when I shit myself, or pee or anything like that. And I just kept on looking at my left foot, going, "Why is that not moving?" You know, and I'd ask them, but because they were so focused on my lungs and me drowning, the notes on my leg are quite minimal. You know, so. No one could, I asked every surgeon that come in, hey, what's up with my foot, man? It's not moving. And they would kind of, it could be this, it could be that. In a few months it'll be right, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you might never get function of it again. And I wish I pressed it a little bit more, but at the time I was just grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
You know, for years I was just like, I'm not going to ask questions. They saved my life. I'm not going to press on that matter. It is what it is. You know, my leg will come back, because they told me, 18 months, your nerve might come back, blah, blah, blah. And just the further down the track, the more I started losing hope, and I was doing rehab for my foot. I've got foot drop, muscle atrophy in the shin, everything like that from it.
Yeah. So essentially, yeah, like a sort of name explains, I suppose it's just, your foot will just naturally drop down. Yeah.
Just
when you walk,
hangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just flops there like that. Every time I walk, I got to lift my hip a bit higher. Yeah. And yeah, when I get a bit tired, I start tripping over things. Yeah, I just have I can push off that foot.
Yeah.
I just can't lift up. And because of that, my Achilles is shortened. And then that whole front shin muscle up to my knee has just died away because it's not being used. So yeah, only a few years ago, I went and got nerve scans done for my common peroneal nerve, and it's completely dead. Yep, both of them, the nerve and the muscle, completely dead. Yeah.
So you're learning to walk again, essentially, after it,
Yeah.
and just it wasn't getting better.
No. No. I had to learn how to walk again, and walk completely different, raising that hip and everything. And it was really frustrating looking at your body part and it not doing what you want it to do. It's crazy frustrating. And then because of that, and because of I'd lost 21 kgs in that time I was in hospital, and then coming out, my main goal was just to put that size back on, because I was down to 100 kgs and I just felt, just sickly, weak and sickly. Yeah. So I really smashed on some weight, which didn't help, because when you got one leg that's a lot smaller than the other now, and you're walking funny, and you go and put on all this weight, you just stress that other leg out. And I didn't think about it. And just walking down some stairs, I blew my ACL in my good leg, completely tore it, just walking down some stairs because of how much it was overcompensating. Yeah. And I haven't got that fixed since. I just don't really see a point. When I've got a left leg that's really bung, I'm like, well, he's not that bad.
Yeah. And what's that like now, though? Pain, like I know you're doing a bit of longer distance running now, which, and we'll get to just, I suppose, the inspiration of your story, but like, what's that like now? Is that just pretty sore, or you just feel that it's weak in your good leg?
Yeah, it just swells up. It's just the fluid in my right leg. That's my good leg. It's just the fluid in there that swells up, and then, it gets quite painful. But it's always the left leg that's the one that's in pain from walking and running, because that shin muscle is completely dead, and the muscle underneath my foot has died away. So it's just bone. And then all of that impact is just going straight into my knee, and there's nothing really taking that impact. That's why it gets quite painful. It's mainly my left leg, especially around that ankle as well. It's like shin splints. It's probably the closest thing I can put it to, but a lot worse.
Yeah. Just, on the back of, I suppose, going through, putting on some size, when your good leg sort of had some issues, was that you knew then, like, footy was done? Or
no, I've always had hope.
Okay.
Yep. I had hope until about 3 years. I still always have that little bit of hope that some treatment's going to come along that I can afford. Stem cells just not affordable for me, and they can't guarantee that it will work.
Okay.
Yeah, I've looked into that. I've looked into every avenue that I can. So I've always got that hope that technology is just going to come and I can get it going that way. But at this stage, nothing at this stage. But it was about a few years ago when I went and got those nerve studies and seeing that the leg's completely dead, that I was like, well, it's just what it is, man. Like, I can run now, but running in rugby is completely different, Someone jumps on my back and my ankle's pointed at the ground, I'll snap my ankle.
Yeah.
It's not the same as just running on the road.
Yeah. Dealing with all those setbacks after that event, like, How's that? Like, how'd you go with that? Imagine you would have struggled a bit.
Yeah, I think I had a bit of issues feeling small, you know, and no longer being the big guy that's playing rugby anymore. I think that was my physical outlet, and I really struggled. That was just my identity taken away. I guess I played rugby most of my life. I always had plan A that I was going to be a professional rugby player. I didn't even have a plan B. I didn't even know what else I could do. Rugby was the only thing that I considered at the time that I was good at and could make a career out of. So not having that, I really struggled finding something else. Yeah, because I just thought, if you're not good at something, what's the point of even trying or doing it, you know?
Yeah.
That was my mindset at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, understandably, right? Like, you know, you're processing this as a 21, 22-year-old, like, you know, all you ever wanted to do, what you enjoyed, what you were known for.
Yeah.
Like you said, that identity is just all gone. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
As such, you know?
Yeah, and I found, like, I love all my rugby teams that I've played for, all the bros I've met over the time, and it's just a natural thing that happens. But you find you can be so important to a club or people, but then when you're not playing rugby or you're not on there, it's just a natural thing that you do get sidelined.
You're just not around those people anymore.
Not around those people anymore, you know. And I struggled with that a lot, going down to the clubs and not being a player anymore and just being a supporter. I really struggled with that, and I was just that drunk guy on the sideline. So that's what I become.
Yeah.
You know?
Routine totally gone, and you could, well, what's the point?
Yep.
I can just drink,
eat
what I want.
That's it. Yeah, all I was focused on at that point, I was like, well, my leg's not coming back. I can't do anything about that. I can work on the rest of my body though, and I just focused on size and strength. And that's when I got into strength training and wanting to be as strong as I possibly could and be as big as I could, you know.
Yeah.
I think I had a lot of insecurities with having a little skinny leg, and I think I overcompensated with that by just putting on mass size.
Okay.
You know, I didn't like people looking at me or looking down at my leg or my foot. I had a real issue with that. I was just like, don't look at that, please.
Yeah.
So I'd work on everything else.
Yeah.
And I think there was, you know, just insecurities.
Yeah. I suppose too, mate, like not a bad outlet to have, you know. Get in there doing something with your body physically, you know, like good for the mind as well. Like that's
100%.
You know, I get like all the physical stuff that you went through with that, but I could imagine mentally, like, Jesus, you know, that's a toll, you know, and to be able to, you know, utilize exercise that is obviously renowned to, you know, to help with that.
Yeah, well, all I could think about, I was never really a big gym goer when I was playing rugby. In my more older years of 19, 20, 21, I knew that I had to be weight training, otherwise I'd just get left behind. But it was still just the minimum 3 or 4 sessions a week of what they've written down for me. I'd go and do those, but then I had nothing else. And all I could think about when I was in hospital was getting into the gym. So the first day I got released, I went to the gym and signed up, because I'd always used the sports gym that they had for free.
Yeah.
So it was my first time really being in another gym that wasn't a one for me for the rugby one. Yeah. And that's where my good mate Caleb tagged me, took me along with him. He drove me there every single day, make sure I got to work out with him. And that was really good for building that consistency early on. Even though I was drinking, eating pretty rubbish, I still had that consistency, that feel good. I was doing something about my insecurities, about my injury. I was still in the gym doing something.
Yeah. What's easy to feel like a bit of a victim, mate, on the back of that, you know, like, and have that mindset?
I can see how people would use that and fall into that, but I never wanted that really for me. I've dealt with other things, adversities in my life. You know, losing my mum, losing my nanny in Koro 2 years before her, I've had a lot of injuries myself. I'd had my shoulder reconstruction at 17, and I just figured from an early age that, yeah, it sucks what's happened, but sitting there and crying does absolutely nothing for you. You'll still be in the same spot a week later if all you've done is sat there and cried. So I really wanted to not fall into that and use it as an excuse. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, mate. Like, you could understand if you did, though, you know.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, I've always been a big thing of there's people worse off than me.
Yeah.
There's always someone that's got a lot worse that's still doing something. So I was getting my paces walking, and I'd just come out of the moon boot, and I was walking around the house doing all right. At the gym I was doing all right. It was still quite painful, but I was like, no, I'm going to test myself. So I was like, I'm going up Mowell, which is just there in Mount Maunganui, and I used to sprint up that within like 13 minutes, sprint the stairs and then quickly walk the flats. And I thought I'd test myself and go up there, and it had taken me about an hour and a half. And I was a few staircases from the top, and the whole way I was just complaining, whining, oh God, why'd you do this to me, blah, blah. Yeah. Being a real sook. And I just heard this, chair bro, almost there. And I was like, who's this giving me a pep talk? And as I was looking up, I saw this guy with 2 prosthetic legs. And he just had the biggest smile on his face and gave me a thumbs up. And I just went and sat at the top and was just like, you suck. Like, who are you? Who are you to be complaining about your bung leg? Yeah, I've got a bung leg, but I've still got a leg. This guy's got 2 prosthetic legs and he's getting on with it. So from that moment, I never complained about my leg injuries ever.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. What's you stayed in NZ for a little bit?
About a year.
A year, and then moved back to Perth?
Yeah, so I was on there because I was on ACC, and they were paying for my rehabilitation and everything like that. I was staying there just because I had all my medical notes. It was just easier to stay there. And then I got back into work, and I was like, man, if I'm not playing rugby back here, what's the point of making this like skim dollar, no money, just being the drunk guy on the sidelines, getting into trouble with just fighting in town and just stuff like that. I was like, well, I know all my siblings are still in Perth. I know there's good opportunities there. If you can't play rugby, go make some money in Perth. So that's why I packed up and come back to Perth, and it was probably the best decision I made for myself at that time.
Yeah. What did you get into work-wise?
Over here, I went back to my demolition job. Just because he said, hey, if you're ever back in town, just give me a call. And I did. And that was just the start. And then COVID hit. And I just met my partner at the time. And work was still good for her. She was warehousing as a forklift operator. And my work completely dropped off. I think I was doing 1 or 2 shifts a fortnight. So... yeah, her mum has been working, operating machines for 15 years up in the mines. And because all the over east workers weren't able to fly over here anymore because they shut the border, they were just desperate for workers. So she called us and just said, hey, do you just want a job? They'll train you, they'll sign all your paperwork, whatever. If you want a job, you can come work with me. So that's what we did. We started working civil contracting, with her and machines, really good money, 3-in-1 swings. After a while, we're like, man, I don't want to do these 3-in-1s forever because they suck. So we went to 2-in-1s with a mining company, Macca Mining. And then from there, we've gone to Roy Hill, and we worked 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Okay. Which is wicked.
Yeah. Well, you hear that too, right? The even time of work to, a time at home is the key, right? Whether it's 1-in-1 or 2-in-2, like you probably, from your experience, that's what you'd suggest.
I'd never go back. I'd never go back. The money's not worth it to me. Like, we actually save better on 2-in-2 because we know that we have to do groceries, have to budget, have to put money away. Whereas 3-in-1s and 2-in-1s, you're home for 5-6 days. You're just tapping. You're eating 3 meals out, you know. So 100% I'll never go back. 2-in-2. Even my sister does 1-in-1, and she just said it just seems like she's always back at work. Whereas 2 weeks off, I kind of forget I have a job. And then the 2 weeks up there really isn't that hard for me because we've got such a good routine up there. It just flies. And then that 2 weeks off is everything. We can go to NZ or you can go to Bali in that 2 weeks and not have to take any leave.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like that whole, you know, I've never done mining stuff. You just talk to people about it, and you know, like that 3-in-1. It's sort of like, yeah, you get more money and all that sort of stuff, and you're away and you less costs and things like that. But so yeah, if you're not feeling it and you come home, and you need a bit of retail therapy, or you just, you know, need to, like, I'd be eating a lot.
You get so starved of so many things, you come back and you just splurge. Yeah. Like when I'd come back, I'd go out, I'd go nightclubbing, I'd just splurge. So my spending was crazy. And even up there, I was drinking more because I was like, well, you're up here for almost a month. You know, I'd gym and then I'd drink 2 nights in the week or something like that, spending money on drinks up there. And whereas now we don't even go to the bar up at work, or we don't spend anything but buying our morning coffee up there. So it's been so much better doing 2-in-2. You are way more conscious of your money and where it's going.
What do you do up there, mate?
Operate machines.
Okay.
Yeah.
What type of machines?
So I'm in a bulldozer. Okay. Pretty meathead job. you just push dirt all day and just looking at your blade and pushing dirt. But I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as work goes, I've always had manual labour jobs. You know, scaffolding at 14 and steel fixing at 16. To be not bending over back and breaking your back and things like that.
It's a nice change. Yeah.
Aircon machine, you know, just left to yourself. It's quite nice. Yeah. And that's why we get to train how we do up there, is because our bodies are pretty well recovered. Yeah. You're just sitting in a machine. You know?
Well, routine wise, like, what do you get up to? So you work out first thing in the morning? Are you at afternoon? What do you do?
When we were strength training, we would always train in the after work, just because you got a full stomach of food, energy, all that. But now that I'm more cardio-based training, a bit of strength here or there, but I don't care as much about my strength. We train in the morning, so we're up at 2:30 in the morning. We gym from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Then we're on the bus from 5 to 6:30 p.m. And then we get back, talk at dinner, shower, asleep by 7:30.
Yeah, and repeat.
Yeah, and then we go to night shift and just swap it over. We train at 2:30 p.m. on night shift, go to work.
Yeah, and mate, look, you know, your transformation physically, right? Like, and I get it's not just physically, because a lot of it's mentally as well, but pretty amazing, you know, with what's happened with your leg and you know, that near-death experience, and then what you've done both from a strength-based point of view and, you know, now getting into some distance running. Like, it's pretty inspiring, mate.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think yesterday was the only one you could call a distance run. All my other ones have been around that 5, which is still a long way.
Yeah,
but I think you underestimate how far 5K actually is.
Yeah, you do, and particularly when, you know, let's take away your whole disability with your leg, right? But you know, that's a massive thing. A lot of people wouldn't be doing it. But then secondly, you're a big guy and running, you know, what do you weigh? 115, 110?
120.
120.
Yeah, I went to NZ at 112 and I put on some weight.
So you haven't got a runner's body, right? Like, and you know, I loved your post the other day, yesterday, just about explaining, and it's like, you know, my pace and this and that. And you could tell in your voice that you're annoyed with your pace. And I'm thinking to myself, well, mate, you're doing 20 Ks, you got a disability, you got a, you know, you're a big fella. Like, marathon runners are 55, 60 kilos is their weight range. Like, you've probably had heavier feeds than that, you know, like it's a fantastic achievement. And I really loved your point. It's not about, hey, I'm trying to beat someone else. Like, I'm just trying to improve myself. And for me, you know, like, what would we do if we were too worried about, I can't do it as good as this person, so I'm not going to do it? We wouldn't do a thing in life.
100%.
Yeah, I love that message, man.
Yeah, well, I think I always had that, if you're not that good at it, what's the point in doing it? Now kind of changed my mindset to, man, why not just have a crack, you know? And a big thing that held me back is one of my older brothers is a marathon runner, and I think I got 2.5 hours to do that 21K, and he run his marathon in 2:40 something. Like he's a quick fella, and I was kind of like, I'm not a runner, what's the point of even trying? But he's been a big, man, you're doing more than majority of people would be, especially with your injuries. And so he's been a big pusher for me to get into running and just having a crack, you know, because running wasn't always the thing that he did either. He just got into it and he's got really good at it. So I'm like, well, why not?
And mate, look, there's a lot to be said for, you know, doing something that you know you're not going to be, that's going to be hard. And, you know, you leaning into that and purposely doing it. You know, there's a lot there from a, you know, mental resilience point of view, that a lot of benefits from that, you know, and just those reps, being able to do that. That's, you know, that's what I love about doing some running. Like, that's, you don't want to, like, you know, it's going to hurt.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You know? And you naturally will compare yourself. But, you know, to your point, it's like, well, I'm only trying to improve myself. I'm not trying to improve someone else. Like
100%. Yeah. I think I was a bit upset on my run just because I had people passing me that almost looked like they were just walking. You know, I was like, oh. And I thought I was still running, and I was like, this is just atrocious, this pace. But oh well, I'm gonna hit that PB. You know, we only plan. I said, babe, because we did a 5K the other day, and that blew my legs. Like my legs are just, some days they're on, and some days they are just struggle walking.
Really?
And that 5K blew me out crazy. So this one, I was like, man, I'll be really happy if we can run 11Ks, because that'll be my all-time PB. I've only run 10Ks maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. So yeah, and when I got to that 11K, I was like to my partner, I'm feeling all right. Like, yeah, I'm in pain, but I can keep moving. I just said, look, do you mind? We're in Bustleton on that coast. I said, do you mind if we just keep going till I can't? And she was like, yeah, no worries. So she ran with me the whole time. And yeah, 21Ks. We got to like 18 and I was buggered, but I was like, why not? Like, at least I'll be really gutted if I stop now and never touch that 21K. So yeah, we did it.
Yeah, good on you. So what are your plans moving forward with that?
So this year I want to do a marathon in October. They've got the Perth Marathon. My brother just told me about that one. And I think that's a realistic time for me to prepare and do a decent amount of training for it. You know, the 21 was awesome that I was able to do that mentally, but my legs were starting to buckle and I was tripping over and things like that. So I know there's still limitations. I know you can go deep and get into your head and really fight it, but your body still have their limitations. And I reckon if I really pushed it, I might have given out at 23, you know? So 42Ks, I've just realized how far that actually is. It's a long distance. So I'm not taking it lightly. I'll be getting a proper running program and trying to get that, because I also don't like doing things just to do them. I want to do them well. So when I do that marathon, I don't want to be stopping and walking for a bit. When I say I run a marathon, that's what I want to be doing, is actually running
the way.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people could just walk a marathon, you know, and just grind it out. It's still far and it's still an achievement, but I want to say I actually ran a marathon.
Yeah.
That's my goal. One of my goals for this year. So, bit of weight loss will help on that as well.
Yeah. Well, mate, you know, like I was saying, you know, you look at the elite marathon runners, they're around, 60 kilo mark, right?
Yeah.
Imagine how far they would be able to run if they had 60 kilos on their back.
Yeah. True.
Essentially, I know it's not like for like as such, and
yeah.
There's plenty of muscle mass there, but you don't need the muscle mass to run, right? And that's the hard thing, and that mix. But you're only competing against yourself, and that's the cool thing.
That's it. Yeah. And I'm just trying to show other people you can do stuff.
Yeah.
Just give it a crack.
Well, like with my business over the last couple of years, I sort of got onto social media and sort of connected with people like yourself that I had a small little bit to do with for a period of time. I said, oh, what's this person doing? And mate, seeing, some of your stuff there and you sharing your story, like, was that a hard thing? Like, was that
never really, I don't think it was too hard. I was like, how do I do it in a way that connects with people, or, how people can
like relate to?
Yeah. How can you make it relatable? Because after my injury, I always posted my progress and my PB lifts, and no one really gave an ass about them, apart from me. Like, I thought they were cool, but no one else really cares about that. So I was like, how do I make it relatable for people to say, he's just a fella having a crack at some things,
Yeah.
And that was the difference. And then my mind frame was, how do I help people? Because that was one of the things. I didn't have anyone that had been through something similar to me. There wasn't a clear pathway of how to deal with it. And I know now, not at the time, all the mindsets that I slipped down some slopes, there was no one really pulling me out of those actively, and I know there's a lot of issues with that back home and here too. How do I help these people get out of that mindset? Because I was locked in a mindset of, oh, I'm just a big person. I'll always be a big person. I'll never look a certain way, or, us Māori just put on weight naturally, blah, 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 all this stuff. It's just fibs to me. To me, it's just fibs. It's just excuses. And now I'm like, how do I show my story in a way that people realize these are just excuses? We're making excuses for ourselves. How do I put it in a way for them to realize that and just go have a crack?
Yeah. Yeah. How have you found that process, like sharing all that?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. It's been awesome. The amount of people that I'm reaching and replying to me saying, hey, today you helped me get over my bullshit and go for a run. Or, hey man, where can I start with this and this? And I try and get back to all of them because I really genuinely want to help them. I'm quite new to the social media growing and trying to, I've always been able to help people, but I'm just like, how do I do it on a bigger platform, And that's why I'm putting up just my personal experiences and how I've kind of dealt with something and my mindset around something, because I don't like to be on my phone for too long. And if I replied to everyone individually, I'd be on there all day, So I'm just trying to figure out a way that I can do it, where I can help people.
Yeah, it must be nice to get those messages, mate, and fuel for you as well, right? Like to know that you're having an impact on people,
Massive. And I've had people that I've read their stories and gone, oh, how am I inspiring you? They've been through much worse than me. And I'm just like, it's cool that I'm reaching these people or hearing their stories, because you don't see that a lot. You, when it happens to you, you focus on yourself and you go, oh, why has this only happened to me? Or, you start feeling really sorry for yourself that something's happened to you. And then you realize you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that have overcome things or are trying to. So to be able to help people that I wish I had someone just go, oh, just do this. That's what I'm trying to be for others.
Yeah. Well, that positive influence, mate, like I think that's just the cool thing, and we were talking earlier just around, you surround yourself with positive influences, you're going to be a lot more positive yourself, right? And vice versa with the negative side of things. So, we can all, we're naturally, I think, wired sometimes, I think, to feel sorry for ourselves or look for, excuses. It's crazy. Like we've got to drag ourselves out most of the time, don't we?
100%. And I never thought that people that surround you had a massive effect on what you do. But I've only started realizing, okay, maybe that is why I am how I am, because the people around me, I have all my siblings that are doing Ironmans or they've competed for New Zealand in certain sports. they've all done really well, and they've been through some huge adversities. I've got mates that are owning 3 gyms that have been through stage 4 cancer that should have died, and are the healthiest and happiest people I know. And I've got so many mates that own gyms and just love it. Just, they're not making huge money, but they just love what they're doing. And those are the type of people I'm surrounded with here. And those are the people that I love asking questions or talking to, or just seeing how they do things. Whereas when I was in New Zealand, you know, if you're not making it at rugby, you're sinking piss. And and I love all those people. They're still really good mates, but that's just a natural thing that we do, is we just sink a lot of alcohol. And when I can see a different motivation with the people over here and what they're doing.
Well, that's the environment, right? You know, it's just, that's how it is, and you can quite easily fall into it. And like 100%. You said, you don't hold it against those people because it's understandable, right?
Yeah, I was in that same boat, so I'm not judging them in any way. Yeah.
Well, imagine too, if you know, from a footy point of view, it didn't, you know, that early success didn't happen, or you didn't have the talent or the drive to do as well. You know, you would have fallen into that earlier as well, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That's the hard thing, isn't it?
Even when I was there, and playing rugby, I was still sinking a lot of alcohol, you know. I didn't think it was a problem because all my mates were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's changing a little bit? Like, I've noticed in Australia, just, you know, that evolution of just in society where you don't drink as much.
Yeah. I'm seeing
the same in New
I
Zealand?
think with social media, it's still a bit further behind, but it is coming up. It is changing back home. Like, I just went home and it was saturated with gyms. And when I lived there was not that many options. And I was like, this is cool. You know, I wanted to start a gym up back home, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. There's a lot of competition. It's quite saturated, but it's good. It's good. That's what I want to see. Like, when I was coming up in rugby, there was only a select few guys in the club team that were doing extras, that were not getting on the beers with you after the game.
Yeah, correct.
And you look at those guys and what a hundies, what a pro, you know, kind of, you give them stick. But now I'm like, man, those are the guys I should have been following. Like, you know, I should have been doing that.
Yeah.
I might have cracked it, but.
Well, you look back and it's a common thread with, you know, people I talk to. It's just like, and it's, you know, a lot to do with, relate with what you're talking about, with just trying to pass on some stuff you wish you knew. You know, you wish you knew that work ethic and some of those things you know now and you value so highly back then, you know. Yeah. There were some early adopters that knew it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because a lot of them are signed and pro players now. And to be honest, I didn't think there's anything crazy or X factor about how they played. But it was just their ability to be consistent and disciplined that finally got them there. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. And now that they're in that professional space, now they're exceeding because now they're getting the proper help with their discipline that they've already built over the years. Yeah, I think that's awesome to see.
Ever think back, mate, and just go, well, you know, if this adversity didn't pop up, right, what would I be doing? You look at the stuff that you've pushed into, what you're doing, you know, how much you value improving yourself and being positive and things like that. You know, that's come from that adversity and how you've dealt with it, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I always think about that, like how different would my life be? And I've come to realize that everything happens for a reason. At the time, I didn't want to hear that when people were saying, oh, everything happens for a reason. Something will come of it. You know, yeah, righto. Tell me the reason, because it sucks right now. Yeah. I've just had rugby taken away from me. But I think where I'm at now is I'm able to help so many people. And I'm hoping to help more people. And I don't think that would have been the same if I was still playing rugby or if I got a professional contract. Yeah, I might have inspired some younger kids, but I don't have that story behind me of this adversity, you know. It's whereas people now see where it's coming from. They see that I truly mean it. And when I was playing rugby, I was quite a selfish person, I believe, and I think that's completely changed. You know, still getting there, but my mindset is not as self-centered as it used to be as a young rugby player. I thought everything was revolved around me.
Yeah, it's sort of like an age thing too, but like you're in that environment and it's natural that you do, right? And it's like you look at a lot of professional sports people and in those environments, it's just like, okay, well, people are giving me my meals, they're giving me all my recovery,
Yeah.
meals and supplements, like
Yeah.
everything's laid out with my name on it.
Yeah.
I turn up and I don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Just need to turn up because I'm the man.
Yeah. Because you played good on Saturday or something like that, and you kind of get into that. Oh, that's what I'm deserving of.
Yeah.
And
Well, you do that for 1, 2, 5, 10 years, and it's like, well, this is how it is.
Yeah.
It's not the real world.
It's not the real world, no. And it took me a while to realize that, and I just realized that I was a normal person, because in NZ rugby's such a, like, if you crack it, you become the man. You're the man. And I never really cracked it, but I was around those people, and people treat you differently when you're the man, or however they do treat you different, and they should, because they put you on a pedestal, and it's just false for these guys. And it put me in a false mindset of how the world was. And then I think that was a real hard thing for me to realize, was you're just a normal person, man. You're a nobody. You gave rugby a crack and you didn't crack it, and now you got to live a regular life like everyone. Go to work, man.
Yeah.
So that was really good for my mindset, was to change and just humble myself and realize you just like everyone else.
Like, you getting into those points where you are feeling a bit like this isn't right, this isn't fair. What helps you? What's the key for you?
Man, I just go, it is what it is. Like, you just take it at the value that it is, face value. You, like, if it's shit, you go, well, yeah, okay, it's shit. You can say that, but what are you going to do about it? Because you just complaining about something never changes what it is. You can admit that something sucks, but then you just crack on. And I think CrossFit has helped a lot also with my mindset change. Because if you go into a CrossFit gym and you see what's on the board, you go, fuck, what the hell is that? How am I ever going to get through that? And then it's taught me how to just break everything down into small reps, into small achievable things. So that's one thing that I've learned from all this, is when you see something and it looks overwhelming, you go, okay, how can I break this down? And everything can be broken down, everything. And you just make it smaller, achievable goals, and you just slowly keep ticking them off. It's just small achievements.
Talk to me about CrossFit. Love it?
Love it.
Okay. Why?
Suck at it. Love it.
What does that matter? You enjoy it, yeah?
I wish I went years ago. I wish if I could tell my younger self playing rugby, I should have been in there years ago. Just the overall gymnastics, weightlifting, the conditioning that you get from it. I think if every rugby player was doing it, we'd see some crazy athletes coming out of rugby or any sport, just because of the functional side of it and everything like that, and strength in positions that aren't natural, I think I realized how strong I really wasn't, coming from, I was never a power lifter, but I was doing powerlifting blocks, deadlifts, bench, squats.
Yeah.
And I was strong in those movements. Then going to a CrossFit gym and having a 60 kg girl snatch more than me, or clean and jerk. Yeah. And I was like, these movements that you just suck at, even just things like pull-ups, things like that, having smaller people just show you up. And it was really good for me. But yeah, I love CrossFit. I wish I went years ago. It's just changed. It's changed my physique for one, but it changed my mental, how I feel about working out. For a long time there, because I knew what I was doing in a gym, I would program myself. I've had coaches for little stints and blocks and things like that, but majority of the time I'd go into a gym, we're just doing chest today, we're doing back today, we're doing legs, and headphones in, you don't talk to anyone, you're in there for an hour, scroll on your phone for 15, 20 minutes of that session while you're resting. Whereas CrossFit, you're working out with everyone else, and these are just everyday people. Yeah. And you start to realize how hard things really aren't, Like I said, if you look at the board and you go, wow, that's a lot. But old mate that's still got to go to work for 10 hours is doing it and then going to that, you just realise,
Yeah.
it's achievable. Everyone can do it.
Team environment too, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it probably arcs back to those days with rugby and training in the gym,
Yeah.
right?
100%. Like there's something different about group trainings that I love. And I didn't realise I missed it that much until I started doing it at CrossFit. And I'm like, oh, well, if you don't like CrossFit, there's so many other gyms that offer group training. And I think everyone should be a part of that because it gave me a community. You know, people can say it's quite culty, and I can see how that would look from the outside, or a CrossFit cult. But if it's a cult, man, I love it. Yeah, it's helped me just connecting with people from all sorts of different walks of life, people with different injuries, and how they go about managing that and getting through what the task on the board.
And up on site, like, do you guys have, like, I could imagine just with your personality, you're probably leading some stuff up there with that sort of group stuff, or do you just have people that do that, or how does that work?
So there's like Courtney, she was up there as a PT, they run classes. Courtney would run boxing classes. But what was happening was my department in production mining, the classes start at 6 and we're not even getting off the bus sometimes until 6:30. So we miss those classes, and that's just, they're not allowed to choose what times. It's just the company says this is when you're training people and they got to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and my partner would always train, do our own thing. And then when I got to CrossFit, there's a fella up there, T-Bird, and he runs a gym in Brisbane, a CrossFit gym, really successful one. And he's a man. And I was like, can I jump in with you? He's like 40 something, looks really well. He's the most consistent fellow I've met. And he was like, yeah, man, just jump in, tag in. So me and my partner jumped in with him. And then a couple other people started tagging along. And then it's just growing. And he does have to do a lot of programming for his gym while he's up there. So I kind of took over. And we've grown that from just us three to, I think the largest class we had was 31.
Yeah.
31 people. And these are not everyone that we work with. These are people from different, you know, we've got drill and blast fellas with us, production. We've got people from the offices coming to jump in these classes. And it's a cool way to just talk to heaps of different type of people. And they just come in and it's awesome. They say, hey, do you mind if I jump in? I add them to the group and we just put, hey, we're going for a run today if anyone's keen. And then, we're running a high rocks class at 2:30. And I'm not a coach, but, you know, I just put things together and, yeah.
Give it a crack.
Give it a crack. And,
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
you.
and I used to feel a lot of pressure because I wasn't a coach. I was like, who am I to be writing up programs and things like that? But T-Bird put it to me nicely. He was like, as long as you have people constantly moving and working, nothing else matters, you know, and everyone's loving it. So, and it's got a lot of them to start working out in Perth and going to CrossFit gyms or going to High Rocks gyms. I'm like, man, that's cool. And then these people thanking me or saying, man, you've really helped me with blah, blah, blah. That's when I started going, I could probably be doing this on a bigger scale. And that's when I started putting it online.
Yeah, sharing your story. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Some like longer term goals and things like that. Like, is there things that you got your sort of mindset on or anything like that? Or
yeah, so my long-term goals are just financial goals, just to set my kids up for later down things. But fitness goals, they're not really long-term things. I like breaking things down, and I like having things where I can go hard and achieve them. So this year, obviously, the marathon is one of them in October. I'd like to do, I think it was the Melbourne in November in High Rocks.
okay.
I'm looking to compete in cross country at an intermediate level with my mate as a pairs. I think that was around November as well. And then the biggest one, the main one that I want to do this year is get in the ring, boxing. Yep, I just want to get in there, have a boxing match, and if I love it, I can look at doing that more. And my last one was another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comp. Yeah, I did my first in November last year, and I loved it.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, yep, I want to do that again next year. I want to win it. But boxing and the marathon are probably my two main goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, mate,
Yep.
unfortunately for me, I'm outside of your weight class, so I can't help you with the boxing.
What weight are you at? I'll come down.
Nah, mate, I'm at 80, yeah.
No, I do have to lose some weight for my boxing. I think I'll try and get to 105, which is super light for me.
But mate, look, why all the goals though? Like, you know, like something that's come up and pretty common. I know it might be a bit of a dumb question, but like, why? Like, why all the goals?
I figured out early on with that Chiefs thing that I can accomplish things, but if I have a goal, and I've realised the type of person I am is if I don't have goals to strive for, I'll eat anything. I'll do whatever I want. I'll go into the gym and have a average session, you know, and not really care about it. But if I have a goal, say I got 12 weeks for this fight, I'll be in that boxing gym doing every single session that I can. You know, I will do anything I can to do that goal well. So I just figured out really early that I'm driven by goals, so I'm always setting goals, and that's what I've always done. And now I'm just upping those goals to more wide range goals. You know, I've always had strength goals and weight loss goals and things like that, and now I just taking them
The next step, yeah, building on past performances,
and doing things that I'm not very good at. I think that's a big one this year, and kind of toward the end of last year. And CrossFit showed me that is I'm not good at it. There's still a lot of things that I scale back, but I have goals, and CrossFit showed me that there's so many things that I'm not good at, and I set goals to get better at those things. And yeah, I'm still not the greatest at them, but I'm doing more than I did when I stepped in that gym. Yeah,
you're improving.
Yeah, and I just love that constant not being good at something and getting better at it. Yeah, because there's always levels, especially CrossFit. I learned how to muscle up. You know, that's an achievement to get a muscle up. And then I'm like, okay, how do we do 10? And you get to 10, and then you go, okay, now let's do that in between a workout. You know, there's always a progression, and I like that. And that's what I do with everything, and that's why I'm doing boxing, something I'm not good at. BJJ also, I've only done that for 3 years, not very good at it. And just those are things that you can always improve on.
No, that's awesome, man. You know, it's just, I don't know, everyone gets, you know, goals and all that sort of stuff, but it's just like, it's easy not to settle. You know, it's easy just to set maybe one and give it half a crack. But, you know, like it's,
Yeah, I think I'm a very competitive person, and I've learned how to do that internally with myself, is be very competitive with myself.
So having things that you got to prepare for is key. So having that goal, whatever that may be, that competition or that mark you want to hit or whatever it is, distance, weight, whatever. And then, you find that helps you to get there.
Yeah.
A lot more than if you didn't.
Also, I've found being who I've said I'm going to be. You know, it's all good and well to make a goal and then not act on it. And if you're okay with it, then that's the type of person you are. But I've had a lot of small things where have solidified the type of person I am, and I know I'm very careful about setting goals, because I know if I say something, I have to do it. It's just something that I've said it now, I have to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm very careful at what goals I set, because
so I can just imagine, you know, the thought process. Yeah, I want to do this, and it's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. And then sometimes I just have to go, stuff it, do it. Just say you're going to do it, and because I've built that's the type of person I am, and pride myself on being.
But mate, even if you don't achieve it, you get closer than what you would if you didn't set it, you know, and that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned before about getting big, you know, and that sort of helped you, you know, like why getting big? Like why, was it just that you enjoyed the gym? Was it, what What is that?
No, bigorexia. Bigorexia. I've just always had a fascination with size from a very young age. Being the youngest of 5 boys in your family, the oldest one, who I thank for it. He's the one that built a bit of grit in me, just giving me hidings, or just being an older brother, always giving me a hard time. From a very young age, I think the first notebook I got after my mum had passed was, I will be this weight, X amount of weight, and I will be taller than Ian, and I will beat him up when I'm there. And I was like, what do I have to do to be bigger than him? And I just knew that I had to eat. And I was always the last at the dinner table, eating everyone's scraps. I just wanted to be big. So I always had this fascination with size, that it was going to make me something. Because you look at these big dudes and you go, they've got no problems in the world. And then I still had that mindset, especially when I come out of my injury. I was 100 kgs, very, very weak, and I'm just going to work on my physical. If I'm at a size, no one's going to mess with me, type of thing. I just had that many insecurities that I was just going to, if I'm big,
it masks them.
It masks it, yeah. And that was why I did it. And I was like, man, if I'm this strong or this thing, because rugby gave me a platform to be this type of person. It's a physical place where you get to essentially get paid to bully people, be physical and rough other people up, and it's just called a game. And then when having that taken away from me, I was just nobody now.
What's my outlet?
Yeah, what's my outlet? So I just really focused on my strength goals and getting bigger, and I thought all my mental issues would go away, all my insecurities would go away. But I found out, once I got to 120 again, I wasn't big enough. I got to 125, I got to 130, wasn't big enough. I got to 142, and I was like, man, I still had these insecurities. What size did these insecurities go away,
Where's
man?
the tipping point?
Yeah. I'm like, when, and you just forever chasing that. And I've just found it was internal, not external. Yeah, and that's when I started looking internally. Why do you care so much about size? Or why do you have to be a certain weight to feel secure in yourself? Yeah. That was, yeah.
Is that a little bit of, growing up sort of helps that process, and just asking those questions is probably the key?
Yeah, it's definitely my partner. Yeah. I did not think about this stuff ever. Even as going through my mid-20s, I'd never thought about this stuff. She's always one that gets deep with things or asks certain questions, and it's definitely been around her where I've had to go, because my excuse was always, I am how I am, deal with it. And she's always the one to pull me up and say, no, that's not all good to be like that. Why, Hayden? And she was the one to ask me hard questions where I had to really question my behaviour and question why I was a certain way. Yeah. Because you are a certain way because of things, whether you think about it or not. You are that way because of experiences. So
yeah, it's weird, eh? Like I sort of relate a bit, and I don't know about you, but I've sort of found that, hey, I don't even want to think about it because that's not humble, and I don't want to have a big ego to be thinking about myself or talking about myself. It's not about me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt the same, but
fully. I'm like, is it that deep? Do we need to figure that out? But it has helped me a lot, actually, having those hard conversations and breaking down why you are how you are.
Just understanding it, where it's come from.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and the more I've got secure by doing things that I suck at and realizing no one really cares, like the less I've cared about my size and the way I look and my strength goals and everything like that, and it
just changes a bit. Yeah. Yeah, because I can imagine too, with lifting some crazy weight like you were, you know, like there's some limitations, particularly with, you know, your legs and so forth, you know, both legs really, you know.
Yeah, I got a 330 kg deadlift, and I went for my 340, and you just see in the video the whole weight just shifts to my stronger right leg, because it's a fair bit bigger than my left one, and that just puts unnecessary strain on my back, and I just kept putting my back out, and nothing was wrong with my technique. My technique was as best as I could have it. Yeah, it was just your body does have limitations. So I just said, I'm going to find my limitations with strength. And then when I think that I found them, I was happily able to say, okay, I found my bench, my deadlift, my squat. That's cool. You can't stay at 142 kgs. It's not healthy. And that's when I started doing other training and realizing there's so much other lifts out there that you can improve on, and that's helped me kind of let go of those lifts and those numbers, you know, because now I'm in the gym and my squat is way down and my bench has gone to almost nothing, but I've accepted it because there's other things that I can do now that I couldn't when I was that size.
So why is it, again, that framework, you know, that your partner's helped you with is just like, well, why is it even important?
Yep.
What does it matter?
Yeah. It's,
you know, functionally from a bench point of view or a deadlift, you know, okay, well, my life is going to be less if I don't do 340.
Yeah. It's funny that you put it that way, because at being 142 kg, people just saw you as this big, you know, big person moving around. And I felt awesome in the gym for that 1 hour of the day. I was the man in the gym. And then for the other 23 hours,
just moving.
You're just an overweight, heavy, sweaty fella, you know. And one of the realizing points was my daughters. They asked me, "Dad, are you pregnant? When's baby?" Yeah. And I'm like, they don't care that I can bench X amount or deadlift X amount. All they see is Dad's got tits and looks pregnant, you know. So that I was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
No one knows what you can do in the gym, walking around. So I was like, man, you got to let this go and start working on your health a bit. But because I was gymming and eating pretty all right, I thought I was working on my health, and I was like, I'll go to the gym. I'm pretty healthy, but I'll get puffed walking up some set of stairs.
Yeah. Kids are great for honesty, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
No filter.
Oh, yeah. Even my nephews think that I've got milk in my tits. I'm like, oh, geez. I've got to change. I've got to do something about this.
Yeah. So how old are your kids?
They're 8 years old. They're twin girls. I just turned 8 in September.
Yeah.
Love them. They're here in Perth as well. They live with their mum full time, and I just pick them up on my weeks off.
Yeah.
Off work.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes things, doesn't it, when kids are growing up and you're responsible for them.
Yeah.
You know, role model for them.
Yeah. So they had actually just been born after my accident.
Really?
And
okay.
that was another reason for me to come back to Perth. I was like, well, you can't play rugby anymore. Go be a part of their lives.
Yeah.
Because I was never with her, and we've got a really good relationship. Her partner, my partner, it's just about the kids, which is awesome. But I was like, I'm going to go back there and be a part of their lives, and it changed the type of person I was, because I was very self-centered, very me. And then when you realise, hey, there's kids that are going to pick this up, you know, you got to pick up the type of person you are. Got to change, you know, and that was a big thing for me. Was I don't want them seeing their dad as a loser, or I don't want to be the dad that's got tits and a big gut, you know, like.
Yeah. Mate, that's you know, that period, you know, 21, get injured, you pick up your leg thing, you know, the lung stuff, come out of a coma, a whole identity changes, become a father.
Yeah.
Like, mate, that's a chunk of change, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of different things going on there. You know, like you've done so well just to get through all that.
Thanks. Yeah. I never really looked at it like it was a lot at the time, but looking back on it, I'm like, well, it is a fair bit for a
Yeah.
21-year-old. When I was 21, I thought I was a 30-year-old. You know, I thought I had all the world experiences, and I didn't see myself as a young person going through all of this. But looking back at it now, I'm like, yeah, that is a fair bit.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, when you're younger as well, it's just like you don't realize as much stuff. You're a lot more aware now the older you get with experience. So it's probably not a bad thing that you aren't aware of a lot of stuff, because, you know, would you be able to get through it if you were aware of it all?
Yeah.
Each your way, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, I was just like, oh, well, this is what it is. What makes me feel good? The gym. So I just kept going there. Yeah.
Simple.
It was simplified. I think, you know, we can too often overcomplicate things. If we just simplify it,
Yeah.
help us a lot.
It's funny, mate, like just, you know, you're talking about identity and stuff, and then you think about now, like, I don't know, what's your identity now? When you break it down, you know?
Yeah, I don't really, it's a hard question because it was so easy back then. I'm just a rugby player.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, what am I? I'm a father first. I'm a partner, loving partner. And I'm just a dad having a crack at all these different things. I don't want to set myself to one specific sport. I just want to help people and show people you don't have to do one thing. You can do all these different things. And I enjoy all of these different sports and doing all these different activities. And that's why I'm just trying to show people, hey, if you don't like to stay in the gym, go try this. Be new in the gym. If you don't like boxing, go do BJJ. If you don't like grappling people on the ground, go to CrossFit. You know, just because you don't like one thing doesn't mean you just give up on that fitness industry. You go and find what you enjoy, because we're all so different. That's what I'm trying to promote. Is not setting yourself to just one certain goal.
The other thing I like, mate, and just hearing you talk over the last sort of hour and a half or so, is just around, you know, the older you get, like, what does that matter? Like you're setting more goals now than you ever have, right?
100%.
So you know, like there's that stigma of, okay, well, we get old and, well, what? It's not about us anymore. It's you just got to be a dad and that's it. You got to switch off.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well, why? Like you can still do both, right?
100%. You know, it frustrates me that people are so quick to just, wait till you have kids, or you won't be training like that anymore, or wait till you hit 30, mate, you won't be training like that anymore. They've just got all these excuses that for some reason they've believed in, and they've gone, now, okay, that's my life now. Whereas I'm 30 now, just turned 30, and I'm in probably the best shape I've ever been in. Even when I was in rugby, I don't think I was this fit. You know, I have running limitations, but as a whole, I don't think I was this fit or feeling this good. And I'm like, don't have this whole, I'm 40 now. Wait till you get to 40, because I have people up at the gym, up at work, who's, I think he's 65.
And he's
still breathing on my neck when we're doing dumbbell carries or heavy farmers carries. And I love talking to him and going, what's your thing? And he's like, oh, it's all just mumbo jumbo. It's just people finding a reason to say it's okay that they're not doing anything. You know, some of the fittest people I know are 40s, 50s, 60s, and I'm like, who am I as a 30-year-old to use 30 as an excuse? You're not.
That's cool, man. I really love it. And it's been, you know, inspiring just to sort of see just through social media and now hearing it firsthand just about it all. And amazing, mate, that you know, there's always someone that's got it harder, and I agree with what you've sort of said with that stuff. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you went through in that period of time when you're a young guy. Just doing your best, you know. And
just doing your best.
Yeah. So, mate, it's amazing you got through all that, and, you know, and the fact too that you're doing what you're doing now and inspiring others and just trying to help others and pass on things that have helped you. You know? Yeah, like it's from the heart. It's cool.
That's it. You don't have to be a coach or a PT to help people. You can just say, "This is what I'm doing. This is what helped me. Give it a try. Yeah. Hopefully, it helps you the same way." So that's all I'm about, is have a crack. Yeah.
No, it's awesome, mate.
All right.
Pleasure to chat to you, brother.
Thanks, Heath. Thanks, Heath.
Appreciate your time,
Appreciate
hey.
it.